Hey there, my friends. Some really big news in Pi Crypto recently, specifically around the blockchain. If you haven't seen all of this, and I covered this in my live stream, but I wanted to do an actual video of covering what the blockchain looks like, how to see it in action, and even though it's in testnet, we're going to talk about some of the implications for all of this coming right up. Hey, my friends, Wes Spencer. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Big news in the crypto world, and we're going to cover that. I cover all things crypto. There is no pumping in this channel. I am not about being a pumper. I am about just covering some of the awesome things that I find a lot of interest in, of which Pi is one of those. But I do cover some other great things as well, like cybersecurity, startups, and being an entrepreneur and building your own wealth in your own way with your own freedom. These are all things I'm super passionate about. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump in and get started. And by the way, while you're listening in, make sure you hit the bell icon so you can stay in touch with me. I would love it if you'd subscribe, and I'd also love it for you to hit the like button. That just definitely helps get this video out into the hands of others. So let's talk about this for a minute. I knew that wallets were coming pretty soon, and it's been very exciting to have this happen. The reason I knew it was coming out was I've had a bunch of people reach out to me that have been running nodes for a really long time, and they said, hey, for the first time, and this was a couple of weeks ago, they said, I have seen some really cool things in my node. All of a sudden, my node I'm starting to use a real blockchain. I've seen it in action. I'm actually seeing transactions go through. So we knew that we were just weeks away. And here we are. A couple of days ago, Nick and the rest of the core team introduced some very exciting stuff. If you've been running a node, you have noticed and seen that you now have a wallet that's shown up. It's a custodial wallet. You guys remember way back a long time ago when I was sharing my thoughts about wallets, and I told you my prediction, I was pretty sure on this, that wallets would be custodial first. Well, that's what's happened. If you're using a node, you're going to have access to a Pi wallet. Now, hear me when I say this. We are still in testnet. So if you have a wallet or you're going to get a wallet, the core team calls this Test Pi, not Pi, it's Testnet Pi. And so, in other words, they're giving you access to be able to use some Pi. It's not worth anything. It doesn't do anything functional. I mean, it actually functionally works, but you can't trade it. It's not worth anything. It's just used to test the entire network, and that's pretty awesome. I'm going to show this to you in just a second. I'm going to show you how it all works. The other thing I think is exciting about this is it's really shown for people like me that have been sort of on the doubting edge, especially early on, of like, hey, it's not a crypto until I start to see a blockchain and I start to see it in action. That's when I'll truly start to believe, well, here we are. And we now have a blockchain. It's in testnet, but we can see it running. We can see how it does follow the Stellar protocol, just as the white paper said. And I think what that means is just good things for the world of Pi. It means that, hey, this thing is turning out to be legit. So you want to see it? I know you do. I don't want to waste any more of your time. So let's just jump in and show it to you. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch over right here, and we're going to take a look at some things here. So first of all, this is a Reddit post, and this is a user that posted a couple of days ago saying, hey, I now have a test wallet. I have Test Pi. I would love to do some transactions. Here's my address. Send some Pi to me. I'll send some Pi to others. And remember, you can do that because there's no harm, no foul in any of this, right? It's just Test Pi. So send to your heart's content. So he sent right here, if you see this is his public key. Now, notice that if you start to hunt through Pi right now, all of the test wallets, and I don't know if this is going to be all wallets in all, like once we go live in a few months to a year, whenever that happens, but they're all going to start with G, the letter G. So this right here is a wallet. This is what's called a public key. This is a wallet that you can share out with anybody. If you're not used to crypto, you can have two keys that are associated. Your public key, which you can share with everybody, and your private key, which belongs only to you. Never share your private key. If you share your private key for any crypto with somebody else, they now have access to your wallet. It's sort of like, think of it as like your password, your passcode to get into it, right? So your public key is different. That's a way of saying this is my input address if anyone wants to send me Pi, and you can share that with the world. You can put that on YouTube. You can do whatever you want with it. It is totally safe. So here is a public key. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hit copy on this. And if you want to see the actual Pi blockchain, we've got it available for you. Here it is. And I'll put a link in the description if you want to see this, but it's just pi-blockchain.net. And we'll talk about that more in just a second. But I just want to show you a couple of things that stand out to me. First of all, I'm going to hit refresh so you can see that this is as new can be. Look at this. The last transaction that's happened in the Pi testnet happened 5 seconds ago. at least at the time of this video. That's awesome. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for me? That means this is active, it's currently working, and we can see it. We can explore it. Notice how I said all wallets right now, at least right now, start with a G. You can see that. You can look at all of these wallets. It's just taking the first 4 letters of the wallet. So you saw right here, let me go back to this. The wallets are actually far longer, but this one starts with GAJL are the letters here for this one. So that would show up the same way here. The way that this wallet explorer is showing it to us is just to make it concise and show us 4 letters. So we know that it's current, right? I can go take a look at any of these. I'm just going to go and click onto this first one since it's fresh and new. And you can see some things in here. You can see the balance. This balance for this wallet has 104 or 101.94, excuse me, pi that are sitting here. And that's a good thing, right? We see that it's been funded, right? And again, it's just test pi, so you can do whatever you want with it. We can see now, right now, I don't think you're going to see a ton of, well, you do have some payments. Okay, so this user has been pretty active, whoever this is. They've sent a bunch. They've received a bunch. You can see all of the transactions that have happened. In this case, most of these are payments. You can see when they first created the account right here. So you can see that this was started with a balance of 100. I don't want to get into all the specifics of this, but let me just say a couple things about the creation because some of you want to know this. So the way the creation works is this. If you saw Nick posting in some of the dev channels inside of the Pi app, he was talking about a faucet and he said the faucet is ready. Think of that faucet as like, connecting to all of the original Pi that exist that we're trying to claim by mining. And when you start and set up your wallet, you're accessing your claim, the Pi that you have from that initial creation, and it comes from that faucet, so to speak. Now, because we're in testnet, everybody just gets 100 pi, right? Because it's just test pi. We're just testing it. So you can see here they were way back down here 3 days ago. They got their very first 100 pi. So you can see all of the payments that have been made both to and from. Now there's a bunch of other tabs here as well. There's an offers tab, which I can only assume is going to go into action if it's going to be used inside of maybe a marketplace, things like that. Same with trades. There's no trades. You're not going to see those show up right now. I don't know if that's a feature that's lacking or that's something that's going to come out and utilized further once the protocol fully matures and we have, again, marketplaces that leverage all of this. So you can see all of these things that are happening. You can see the effects to the account, things that have been bought and sold and how that's updating the balance for everything. You can see the operations. You can actually see the raw transactions. I'm going to click on one. So here's a raw transaction. Again, remember, this is a public ledger. And so because of that, we can all see it. We can see the transactions that are happening. Instead of having to use some like off-chain, like closed ecosystem to make transactions, and who knows if it's been made or not, other than those who maintain the closed system like banks. This is open, just like Bitcoin. So I can see it. I can see the transactions that have happened. I can dive into them. I can take the data. I can even export it as a CSV if I want to open it into something else. I'm not too worried about anything else here. Here's the signing, flags, data inside. So pretty nice to be able to see all this. I just want to give you a super quick tour through the ecosystem. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back here to the Testnet Explorer. And remember, I had copied right here this public key. I'm going to copy it again just to make sure I do have it copied. And we're going to search for it. I'm going to show you how this works. So I'm just going to hit search. And here we are. Here's that user that posted in Reddit a few days ago. And here's their account. You can see they have 108 pi. That's kind of awesome, right? So imagine what we can do with this. What are the implications? Well, if we have users that have balances that anybody can see, and you could use an API check to go against to verify. I could then set this up as a payment mechanism to say, hey, look, I have buyers and sellers, and I'm going to use the Pi ecosystem, the actual blockchain, the actual Explorer, like you see here, and I can use this to verify transactions between buyers and sellers, which is really cool. You've probably heard of some like dubious marketplaces out there, like, the Pi lifestyle. And I said this in the live stream. Look, I'm not hating on it. I just view it as like a way to test everything is all it truly is, right? Like it's not a real ecosystem. They've hard set one Pi being $100. They've hard set things like you have to pay to get in. And it's weird the way you actually make the transactions. I mean, it's not a real marketplace. And people may get mad at me for saying that, but guys, that's just a fact. And we shouldn't be pumping all of that stuff anyway. It's fine to explore it and show how it works, but let's not take that, way further than we need to and say, whoa, Pi is worth $100. That's pumping. Let's not do that. We don't know what it's worth yet. Nobody knows what it's worth yet. But going back to this, I chased a rabbit trail for a second. Going back to this is super cool because I can actually authenticate and see when buyers and sellers have made transactions. And I can see, do they have enough in their wallet to pay for something? I can do some really great things with this. So that is the Pi wallet. That is the ecosystem, which is really, really cool and a fun way to kind of see what is going. If you want to play with it yourself, you don't even have to have a wallet. Just go to pi-blockchain.net and you can see all of that involved. Oh, by the way, credit where credit is due. Let me go back to this. I want to show you, this is the fella that actually created this. I'm not sure who he is. I've never met him, but just shout out to him. So he took right here the Stellar Explorer, because remember, Pi is based off Stellar. And what he did was he took the Stellar Explorer and he adapted it for Pi. And you can see his Facebook page right here where he's just giving a shout out to himself. So hey, that's pretty awesome. You can see the developer who made that happen. And thank you, by the way, if you watch my channel and watch my videos. That's super cool of you to go and lend some of your time creating this Explorer for all of us to see. Now, just a few other things. So I did talk with Nick on the core team, and I wanted to share a couple things that he relayed to me about all this. First of all, if you do have a wallet and you're playing around in Testnet, make sure you keep your wallet balance above 20. At the moment in Testnet, you have to have a minimum of 20 Pi to be able to continue to receive and send Pi. So if you're playing with this and learning and you want to keep using it, by all means do so. Just make sure you keep your minimum balance at 20. That's the first thing that Nick told me. The second thing Nick told me as well is, hey, just remember, we're in Testnet. At any point in time, they could pull this back, they could reset it. You might have more Pi or less Pi show up in your wallet because it's not worth anything. It's just test Pi, as I said before. So we're just testing. And the reason we're testing is we get to do things like scale, and we get to do things like, does this actually work? What bugs do we see? So if you notice something, make sure you reach out in Reddit or in the Pi app itself to the mods if you see something that appears to be a bug, because we're in that quality assurance right now. Before we get anywhere close to mainnet, we really do want to make sure that things are working well, and that's what Testnet is for. All right, guys, so that's it. I just wanted to do a very quick intro to you so you could see the blockchain in action. For those of you like me that may have had some reasonable doubts of like, is this thing ever going to be real? Here it is. And that's super exciting to see this happen. The next steps that we'll see is continuing to see some maturity around the wallets. We'll eventually see them get closer to communicating what a mainnet release will look like. And from there, we will continue to see the growth and journey of Pi, which I think is very, very exciting. Hey, I hope this video is useful for you. One thing that you could do if you wanted to, share this video with some friends. By all means, just take the URL up top and just share it out in any of the channels you're in. And if you found me through that, hey, how's it going? Appreciate you spending some time with me today. And secondly, while you're here, I know I asked you this before, but I'll just ask you again, if the video is helpful and useful, I've got a bunch of other fun stuff that you can see and cover as well. All you've got to do is hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, definitely hit that for me, and absolutely hit the bell icon just so you'll be notified when new material is coming out. All right, guys, that's all I got. I appreciate your time. Thanks so much.